we started really well. We got in a couple games before we went to spring break, so I was excited about that. First time in my career as a player or coach at Allegheny where we were on the field playing games. We were playing really well. We hit the ball well. We pitched well. And then we went to Florida and played a really tough schedule, and we struggled. It was the first time since my first year here that we've really struggled. I think we came back with a losing record out of the spring break trip. And so we kind of had to do some soul searching and work on some things to get better. And I think we did that. We went over to Worcester, who ended up being league champs, won 2 out of 4 over there. But saw some inconsistencies. Next weekend lost 2 out of 4 at home, went 2-2 against Hiram. So, but once we started playing consistent and getting the practice in and getting on the field and working, we finished the season. We won 10 in a row. Won the first game of the crossover. I ran into a hot DePaul team. I think they had won 12 out of 14 coming into our weekend. So we knew, hey, these are probably 2 of the best 3 teams in the league playing each other in the crossover. Unfortunately, we didn't win and make it on to Chillicothe. But it was a season where we saw a lot of great things towards the end. It was disappointing to end it because we were playing really good baseball at the end of the year. So just trying to build off of that momentum from last year going into this year. We're really excited to have most of the guys back. Joe Killian was, 4-year starter, conference rookie of the year, conference player of the year, All-American. So you don't really replace that, but it's nice to have that be your only loss in the lineup and have everybody back. We've seen some really good improvements from Austin Bristol, a sophomore shortstop offensively. Vinny Carone's a sophomore who's going to start at third base, and he's really worked hard, and we've seen some big things from him. So it's really about everybody improving a little bit, and then the whole team, though, as a team, offensively, we should improve. So those are 2 guys left side of the infield. Jake Shick, captain, Robert DiMaggio, captain. Those are guys that have been all conference that are returning that we're going to count on. Pat Orr continues to get better behind the plate offensively and defensively. So we've got some guys that we feel good about, and there's a lot to name. But those are some key guys that we feel are going to contribute and make this season, better than last year.
The 8 seniors we have on our team not only are just guys on the team that everybody looks up to, but guys that have really invested a lot of time into this. Certainly the underclassmen look at us to set the example both on and off the field. And on the field, just developing that camaraderie within the team through the senior leadership is crucial for our team. But yeah, as you mentioned, there are some underclassmen who've got a lot of experience last year, namely Austin Bristol at our shortstop position. Had a lot of experience last year. He might only be a sophomore, but he's going to be a key contributor this year. There are other sophomores and juniors that are going to be key components this year, as they got experience last year and really need to translate that into the play this year.
It's nice to have a lot of seniors on the staff who've pitched in a lot of games, have a lot of experience over their 4 years, been in big games, tough situations. So, Boyer's the anchor, the guy that we count on. So we expect big things from him every year, and he's going to have to be that ace, that conference pitcher of the year type guy. Hopefully All-American type guy this year for us. And moving off of him, we have Robert Julian, who's done well over his 4 years, 3 years. This will be his 4th year. Corey Keenan kind of had some arm issues last year, and he's really bounced back here in the winter and looked really well so far for us. Pat Orr, being the starting catcher, it's tough to. We've had some, to figure out a way. And I think later in the year last year when we got hot, we figured out that he was going to be our closer, and we were going to use him in that role. And I think he'll move forward with that. So we're really counting on those guys, those seniors to lead. But we've got an excellent group of freshmen, starting pitchers, Nathan Pastorik, freshman lefty, Jared Deegan, a freshman righty, and then Sean Keeley, the big guy, left-handed pitcher. So we're going to count on those guys. The one guy that really stood out last year that came on late in the season, it kind of coincided with our winning, was Joe Nagel out of the bullpen. And I feel like he's going to move into a starting role. He's kind of established himself as a top 4 or 5 starter for us. So we probably see him on weekends, and he'll be a good guy. We've got a bunch of juniors coming out of relief, whether that's Cy Perry, Nick Debussy, Kyle O'Connell has done both. He's been a starter, he's been a reliever, and he did some good things at the end of last year. So those guys, we've got a good group of guys that we're going to count on, and we feel really good about our top 8-9 pitchers doing some good things for us. The bullpen was an issue last year. It seemed to be 50-50. We've had some good outings which helped us win games, and then we had some bad outings where we let leads slip away with the bullpen, and we feel much better about our depth, and we feel much better about the bullpen and the way it's situated and who we can go to get out of innings or get us the save late in the game. Yeah, I think with the depth we have back offensively, it's going to be hard for a freshman to crack through and get a lot of playing time. The guy who stood out in the fall was Shane Fiorentini. A big strong guy, big bat. Reminds me a little bit of Joe Killian as freshman, so we're really excited about his bat, and he's going to try to find a way to get into that lineup with some of the other guys as well. But he's the one that really sticks out offensively. He's not the only one, but he's probably the one that has the best chance to play right away.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of senior leadership this year that's sort of been very close the past couple of years and sort of has seen the mountaintop but hasn't quite gotten there. So I think that leadership and that sort of intensity that these guys have to want to get there is really going to lead us this year to get to that point where we want to be. Certainly the preparation has been thorough this year. Working out in the weight room with our new peak performance coach has been very good. And then just between practices, captain's practices, and guys getting work on their own, everybody's really itching to get into the season and putting in the work to do so. Rarely do we see us getting outside in February, not just on the turf, taking ground balls with snow behind us, but on our own baseball field, taking, round lives of BP and whatnot. It's an absolute blessing to do that. There's certainly schools that are around us that don't get that luxury.
We've talked as a team about, having team goals. We want to improve daily. I think that's kind of a cliche, but it's really, if you don't focus on improving daily and you're looking too far ahead, all of a sudden you miss some days to get better. So we've really focused on that. We of course want to win the conference championship. That's a big goal, but we haven't set a win total in conference, out of conference. We just want to play good baseball, and we know if we can do that, if we can get better every day individually as a team and play good baseball, we're gonna have a really good season. We've got a great group coming back, and I have a lot of confidence in our group. They have a lot of confidence in themselves, and we always play a tough schedule, but we know we can handle it.
Right now, it's funny how over the past 4 years you sort of move away from individual goals and into team things, because a lot of those individual goals get brushed under the rug once the season's all said and done. So really this year we're looking at team goals. I'd like to answer you with some individual goals, but it really is about team goals this year. Certainly having some conversations with the captains. Everything we've talked about has not been on an individual level. It's about the team really reaching that pinnacle and performing the way we really want to perform. We've gotten away from these number-based goals and looking at 30-win seasons, 21-5-win seasons, things like that. It's really about playing our brand of baseball from a day-to-day basis. And I think if we're able to do that, and if we set that as our name goal, as an individual level and on a team level, if we do that, we'll be really successful this year.
The way we're looking at it is, we understand that Worcester's the team to beat in the league and in our, the East Division of the NCAC. We have them home this year. Hopefully the weather holds up and we can play at Allegheny at Robertson. But we feel good about the home schedule, and the league itself. Worcester returns a lot, just like we do. Denison returns a lot. DePaul returns a lot, so it's going to be a very good league year. I think the top 4 or 5 teams. If you looked at the poll, Worcester was clear number 1, and then you had Denison, and then you had Ohio Wesleyan, DePaul, Allegheny, all jumbled together within 3 votes of each other. So I think the top 5 teams in the league are really good, and I think some of the teams that weren't ranked in the top 5 in the league, Kenyon returns a lot and is going to be good, and Oberlin was really young last year on our side, and they return a lot, and so we feel like it's going to be really competitive, but we're preparing to win the East and win the league, and we feel like we can do that. We don't feel like it's going to take some long shot or some miracle to do that. We feel like we can hold our own, and we know we can do that. We just have to do it every day, and I think that's the difference between the championship teams and the teams that don't get to that level, is they're able to repeat that game after game, day after day, whereas teams that are good but not championship level, they have some peaks and valleys, they have some good days, some bad days, and we've got to have a lot of good days if we want to win that thing.